And we are rolling. Coming to you live from the village hidden in the Evil Brothers. I am, this is Boku no Podcast, an anime podcast. I'm your host, Nick, here in the studio with
Kenji-san.
Nice. And this is the thrilling conclusion of our Trigun retrospective.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting my third tattoo now.
Yeah, dude. We are Space Cowboy certified after this.
We're experts.
We are the world's leading experts.
We are scholars
of
Space Cowboys.
We are pushing the knowledge base forward into bold new places, bold new horizons.
Always only to the limits.
Only.
And never backpedaling.
Never. These are fixed gear bikes. They do not go back.
No brakes.
No brakes. So, where we left off, Ride the Blade just had a bullet put in his brain by our man, Nicholas D. Wolfwood. The city of September? June? Some city named after a month has been reduced to rubble. There is a new crater in the moon. What is going on? What is happening? Vash, what did you do? What did you do? There was a city here before.
Yeah, it's something to do with it.
There's no city here now.
There's a crater.
There's a crater. Oh, please don't tell me my fat mama fell here.
Fly me to the moon.
Hey, that's next month. So we cut from there to the beginning of the final arc, the redemption arc. Because Catholicism's all you need, baby.
Is this really where the arc actually starts?
This is, to me, where the redemption arc begins, because everything up until now, Trigun plays it close to the vest. I mean, I'm not going to lie. If you were to remake this anime today, this might be 12 episodes long.
You think?
They'll
cut out all the filler?
I think that
You think every episode's going to progress the story?
I think that there's a lot of meat to be trimmed from this cow. But
you don't think this doesn't need world building? You think they're going to cram the world building in the 12 episodes?
I would love some more world building. But what we get here is up until episode 17, Trigun doesn't let you know basically anything about Vash. All we know is that he's some guy.
But up to this point, though.
And so the next episode is called Rem Savarem. A difficult name. It's like a weird name for your kid. Rem is the woman.
I thought we were on Paradise.
No. That's we left off with Nicholas Wolfwood killing Ride the Blade.
Okay.
So we cut to spaceships. We're in space. Humans, cold sleep. What's going on? We found an alien planet. No ocean, but a mostly quartz surface. We're talking sand. Miles of sand. Take Earth and then replace all the ocean. Replace all the wet parts with dry parts and all the dry parts with wet parts. And that's what you get. And there's a lot of weird dialogue here. First off, we're on a spaceship where we've just seen the wrecking of spaceships up until now. The crew says no need to wake up the old man, whoever that is, but they want to possibly go down to this planet to search for flowers. We find out that we're on a ship in the Seed Project, which is like a human arc kajigger. Humanity has ruined Earth, and so we've sent these seed ships out in the hopes of finding a new life. It's a pretty standard setup, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty standard sci-fi setup. Then we see a baby now.
It's hopefully utopian, you know?
Yeah, we see baby Vash and baby Knives looking like the guitarists of some Swedish metal bands with their ass-length blonde locks in their virtual rec room.
Yeah, they look like twins almost.
And they're going on, they're like, so what's Earth like? And everyone's like, dude, Earth is like a Taco Bell trash can right now. But we don't let them know that. But these kids are being conveyed what Earth is supposed to be like. You know, this is something that I worry about that I'm going to have to do one day. It's like explain to a kid what Earth was like.
That's the fear, hopefully.
That's the terror. But Knives is immediately showing heavy Sith vibes here.
Yeah.
Even as a wee one, as we learn, these kids are 1 year old. They were found as babies aboard a spaceship. Another spaceship. First off, if I'm finding a spaceship, that's opening up so many things.
Yeah.
But they find these babies on a spaceship, and then a year later, these babies grow to be like 10-year-old boys. Which is spooky shit.
It's a fun concept, though.
It is fun because you're getting right through the years that are the most pain in the ass. But you have to also think when you don't have all those years to develop like a morality or like a deep sense of like trust or loss or possession or ownership or...
It's like, how fast does time go by for these folks, for these two brothers?
I mean, clearly...
Is it slower?
It's got to be going by so fast that it's like... I mean, spoilers, but there's a point later on in the series where we realize that Vash basically goes somewhere and sits down waiting to meet up with Knives again, and he doesn't move for a year.
Yeah, Knives is like, stay here.
And he sits down
he sits
for
there
a
for 10 years.
Like, so...
It was more.
I thought it was 1 year.
There was like multiple occasions where it was like...
But the point is... I don't know how time works for these people, but I do think that if you only had 1 year to develop love for your mother, you probably got less love for... You just got less... You got less coins in that piggy bank than some kid who's been loving his mom for a solid 10, 11 years.
Yeah.
These kids didn't drink that titty milk. They did not feel that warm embrace. And they didn't even get the chance for the American foster system, the miracle that it is, to find them someone who would give them that. Because they didn't have time. They had, what, 2 months before they shot straight past their terrible twos into adolescence?
There's no time for that when humanity is at risk, you know?
Rem is on that seed ship trying to find a good kindergarten and enroll these damn kids in, and they're already in the 3rd grade by the time she fills out the paperwork. She's doing the best she can. It's an unreasonable scenario.
It's got to be easier, though, then, to raise them.
You would think that, but in this country, we don't offer paid maternity leave because we're behind in the times. Get with it, America.
We've never raised a kid in space yet.
We've never put a woman on the moon either. We've got to fix that one.
Perhaps. But I agree.
But yeah, so Rem is... As the top woman with the most motherly skill, the woman with the most love on the seed ship, she is de facto put in charge of raising these boys and defending them from the likes of people like Steve and Joey. Joey is...
Is Steve the big guy?
Steve is the one that's like, those kids are clearly monsters. They grew to be 10 years old in 1 year. They're already writing computer software. Yeah, I don't agree with it.
They're abominations.
They're abominations.
They're not people.
They're obvious. Like, they try to paint Steve as a bad guy here, especially in the dub.
I mean, he kind of is.
They give him a really...
He's a pervert, too.
Yeah, but...
He's like trying to rape, he's so thirsty.
He's a thirsty one.
He's so thirsty.
He is liking...
He's misogynistic.
He's DMing all the e-thoughts on Instagram, and he's just like, hey, like, I just really like your stuff. And but the problem with Steve is that he is correct, that everyone is absolutely not alarmed enough. Even though nothing bad has happened here toward... The fact that they found 2 babies that then grew to be these hyper intelligent boys. I would be the Steve on my ship, definitely. You know,
you would want to kill the kids?
Maybe not kill the kids. I would be nice to the kids, but I would be nice to them in like
you're gonna put them in a little box. Is that what?
I'd be nice to the kids in the same way that I'm nice to like an aggressive dog, where I'm like, all right, like secretly, I wouldn't publicly say these kids are evil, but in my heart, the whole time I'm shaking hands with them and I'm playing frisbee with them in the rec room, the whole time I'd be thinking, guys, we might not know what the fuck we're in to here. Like, we might not know what we are dealing with here. Yeah. These are aliens.
Maybe we shouldn't be worried about parenthood.
These kids could have bacteria in them that we just can't deal with or something. They're literally aliens.
Or maybe they're parasites that are trying to, like, thwart our mission.
Vash and Knives could develop a virus that, like, could wipe out all the humans on this seed ship. And it would be our fault because we just let 2 aliens that we found hang out with us because we thought they were cute.
Well, even that, I think calling them aliens is a stretch, I think.
I think...
For me, I would logically be thinking, like, oh, man, like, what's wrong with these kids? Like, do they have some genetic, like, disorder? Like, what... Is it the effects of space? Is it radiation? What could it be? Like, I want to jump to alien.
It's that they're smarter than everyone on the ship, though, too. Steve's like, they're already writing computer programs. And
yeah,
whatnot.
Maybe it's the radiation or the 5G.
And a child that's smarter than you, that's what terrifies me. Like, the idea that I'm going to go up to some kid and they're gonna talk to me in some weird Bitcoin Five Nights at Freddy's language that I don't understand. And I'm gonna be like, what the hell?
Is that what you hear now?
I'm gonna be like, what are you talking about, youngster? And they're gonna be like, oh, old man, you're about to be uploaded into the mother cube or something. I'm gonna be one of those cookies in Black Mirror.
That's you now.
They're gonna put me in their fucking Bitcoin.
You're scared of young children.
I'm scared. So I get you, Steve. If some kid rolls up on me, it's like, dude, you're literally 11 months old. Like, I'm talking to an 11-month-old. I'm in an argument over Plato's take on philosophy with an 11-month-old. This is crazy. And everyone thinks I'm the crazy one.
No.
So, but Knives is clearly evil from the jump.
No.
He's like, why do the humans get to destroy another planet if they destroyed theirs? And it's like, ooh, geez, Knives, I looked in the big handbook of things that that we were supposed to look out for if we took on some, like, alien orphans. And you just said, questioning the humans' like, existence, that's one of them. You're not allowed to use terms like supreme species or final solution. Like, we've encountered, you're only like 11 months old, so I'm sure you don't understand genocide, but we've dealt with this a couple times. We know what to look out for.
Right. And it's like, as soon as the maniacal smile, he lost me at there when he smiled. The way that kid smiles, bro, right. It's nothing good is going to come out of that smile.
And then, God, Steve has a drunk interaction with the kids. And I think every anime drunk interaction it's always scary. It's always like this. Every time a drunk man interacts with a woman in an anime, it is terrifying. It's either Brock from Pokemon or it is something you want to turn away from. But yeah, Steve goes in on, let me get her name here, the lady on the ship. He's acting very rapey. He's grabbing tits. He's worried about when he's gonna get laid next. And you never want to be around guys who are worried about that type of stuff. That's a dangerous man. It's a dangerous person you're in the room with. Worried about when you're gonna get laid next. It's like, listen, we're all worried, right? We're all thinking about it, but you can't be like. You can't let them know. You got to play the cards close to the vest, like the first 16 episodes. But
yeah. It's a weird angle from like the kids' side, like, you know.
But yeah, so there's this wild scene where, to me, this is one of the seminal scenes of the entire show because it's one of the ones that I most clearly remember decades later. I saw this first when I was like 9 years old.
Right.
Is the butterfly getting caught in the spider's web, and Vash is like, "Oh no, the butterfly's in the spider's web. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do, Knives?" And Knives,
he tried and no, like he was trying to save the the insect right from the spider, and then Knives just like kills them both or some shit.
Knives reaches into the spider's web and just crushes the spider. And Vash is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm saving the butterfly because you wanted it to live." And Vash is like, "I didn't want you to kill the spider, though." Ugh. And Knives is like, "Well, if I'd let the butterfly go, the spider would have starved." And it's like, all right, that's a leap. That's a leap there, young man. There's other butterflies. There's other things to get caught in that web. The spider is not a one-pump chump, all right? He casts a wide web for the... But I'm dealing with an 11-month-old, so what the hell what am I going to say? I look like an idiot for arguing with him. But the point is... This is where
it demonstrates like their philosophy, you know, that like one went extremely left and one went extremely right.
I think this demonstrates it's hard because we don't have a huge cadre of aliens to think about, but I feel like this demonstrates like a limit of their perception. Right. Because they're both supposed to be very smart. Smarter than the average person, even at this age. But it's interesting that they both lack just a basic level of like reasonableness. They're both. Yes. I think Vash is unreasonably a pussy. I think Vash is a pussy to an unbelievable degree. And we're going to get into that in a minute. But yeah, I think that both of them are incapable of holding two minds about anything. And they act that way.
They're supposed to. I mean, this is like a common thing I see in a lot of anime shows where they're supposed to represent yin and yang, pretty much. You know, and there always has to be some level of yin and yang in almost every anime I've seen. You know, like Inuyashiki, for example. It's like the old man is like the far right. He's the yin, and then the psychopath was the yang. You know what I mean?
But with Inuyashiki, he has the benefit of experience. You can believe that a man that age can love that hard.
He's just the complete opposite of the villain. In most, I guess this is too broad.
I can understand that someone Knives' age being this close-mindedly malicious, but Vash makes him a little bit more complicated, I guess.
And confused.
Yes.
He's definitely confused.
And so Vash gets a haircut. And Rem's just like, yeah, well, I figured Vash wanted a haircut. So he gets a haircut. But this sparks, Knives is jealous. And he doesn't want to admit that he's jealous. He's like, oh, cool, you got a haircut, nice. So Knives goes and he cuts his own hair. Because he, when it's bitch mommy, and you're like, fuck you, bitch mommy. And your mom's like, but I got you a pepperoni pizza just like you like. And you're like, I fucking hate pepperonis. And it's like, you don't fucking hate pepperonis.
You're just trying to start shit.
Right? She's bitch mommy. She's not regular mommy. Regular mommy left for work and
it's like,
mommy.
Why are you taking it this way? It's like Knives is so primal and he's so sure about what he believes in. He's so solid and concrete in his philosophy, his ideology. And it's weird to see 10-year-olds have this level of conscious morality, but
he's like reading the Republic and shit.
Yeah, but he's so far right, and Vash is so too far left. In a sense that he's so fucking confused. He doesn't know what he's fucking believing, and Knives knows exactly what he believes. And he knows what he's concrete.
But it's heavy like Norman Bates from Psycho energy because it's like, oh, Knives, you cut your hair, and it's like, did you cut your hair because Vash got a haircut? And it's like, no, I just felt like it. I just felt like, as he says, without blinking, with his mouth twitching slightly. I just felt like getting a haircut. It had nothing to do with Vash. I didn't even know Vash had a haircut when I cut my hair. And it's like,
that's a bad seed right there.
All right. You sometimes
no pun intended.
Sometimes you can catch him young. Sometimes you can catch him young. I'm not gonna lie. My mom used to run a daycare, and she had a little boy named Derek, who it was like, that boy's gonna be a serial killer. He tried to stab a little girl in the face with a fork. He was like,
there's always those.
5 years old.
You'll run into those. I feel like in every school there's one kid that would never have a future. He would just always just steal, maybe kill, always get in fights.
Knives is worrisome because he's like the one smart murderer. And
he's the CEO. He's the psychopath, the psychopath CEO.
Yeah, the guy who takes trips to South America.
He's the CEO of
Nestle.
He's the Nestle CEO.
Yeah. So Knives. Knives orchestrates a plan here, because we come to learn that Knives is a little bit over the humans. And he gets bullied by Steve. Steve is like corners him while he's drunk, and he's like, "You're fucking scum. You're not humans. I'm going to hit you with this club," because that's what you do. You just beat on children. You don't get rid of the problem. You just make the problem hate you. Because that's the thing is, it's like if Steve had killed these kids and then they're like, "What happened?" And he makes up some cockamamie story, but he's like, "I had to do it. Guys, they were stowaways, whatever. What are you going to do? Court-martial me or whatever? We're in space." But for him to just kind of beat on these kids that he's distressed that they're smarter than him. And it's like, I'm just going to wail, fuck these kids. I mean, I guess Steve's not a smart guy.
What percentage alcohol is he drinking, dude?
What do they got in space?
What is he? At what point does he have to get to be like, I need to beat the shit out of these kids drunk? You know? And what is he drinking in space?
I don't know, but like, I've never wanted to wail. Okay, no, I've wanted to wail on kids.
Of course. What I was about to drop the mic. I was like, you never wanted to kill and smack a fucking kid, you know?
Okay, it's got to be fun to wail on kids. And
I never did wail on a kid. I don't know. I wouldn't feel like the hero. I feel like it would be like punching my dog or some shit. We will only understand until we have children of our own.
I guess.
I'll put money on it.
And so Steve tells these kids, he's like, we wanted to kill you when we found you. We were gonna kill you if it wasn't for Rem. It's like, why would you say that? Why would you say that to the kid? Why would you just make an enemy like that? And
that's what you would do.
I wouldn't do something.
You said no. You were like, I would be just like Steve.
I would be just like Steve.
Like 10 minutes ago, you're like, bro,
I'd be like Lil Bow Wow. I'd put on Steve's sneakers, and I'd be like,
I thought you just told me you understood his resolve.
I understand distrusting and not liking these kids, but I would not outwardly display that. I wouldn't kick a kid in the stomach. You think I'm
It's too late, bro. You said it.
All right. I guess I'm kicking a kid in the stomach then. But I'm not enjoying it. I guess I'm fucked up on 2 space beers. And I'm like, come here, you little plant bastard. But
now Knives has a reason to even be more not confused about his morality.
So I don't know how this all happens that's coming up, but Rowan and Mary orchestrate a plan that Knives put in place somehow to put Steve on the deep freeze for being a rapist. Mary comes forward. She says, Steve raped me. And they say, freeze this motherfucker. And they literally freeze him, because that's what they do in the future, which is fucking cool.
How do they force him in there, though?
How do they force him into the deep freeze?
Yeah. He's huge.
There's like a staff, man.
That's the staff, dude. Is a skinny, nerdy dude and like a bunch of women.
No, there's like
kids.
the captain and Rem's got like a gun. Like no one wants it to come to that, but there's guns on the ship and shit.
I find it hard to believe that Steve just willingly just steps in the tank and is just like, no, like, you know.
Maybe he's like, the DNA evidence will exonerate me.
Yeah. That's like putting a noose over your head and going, no, oh, like what's happening? You know.
He knows that in the year 3000, Jesse Cochran, the 400th, will be able to get him out of this. Or the Cochran Foundation is still alive, well into the future. But it's funny because we don't have DNA. I don't know how prevalent DNA testing and crime dramas and stuff were in Japan in the 80s when this anime was being conceptualized. But
there were some great ones, dude.
It is funny.
Conan was at its peak back then, I think.
Well, I mean, but Conan's not like swabbing the scene for semen to send back to the lab, is he?
No, he doesn't need to send it back to the lab. That's the thing about Conan is that he's too fucking smart for that shit. He'll look at the semen, taste it, and then be like, "It was him."
It was him. And then
that's the type of shit that dude, you have to see that show.
And then you consider, he's like, before you cut the show off, I am an adult man who was turned into a little boy, but I am still 21 years old.
But the 21-year-old is a genius though. That's his oeuvre. Yeah, his quirk.
His quirk. Everyone's got a quirk now.
His quirk is solving everything with ease. But anyways,
yeah,
that's another story for another episode.
So Rowan, after Steve gets put on deep freeze, Rowan loses his fucking mind. Like, goes absolutely bonkers. He's like, Mary, now that I'm the only penis left on the siege ship, you've got to be my girlfriend.
Oh my god. Yeah. And I don't know where that came from, to be honest. There was no like lead up to him.
It's
like there was no sign prior to everything seemed perfectly fine, and out of nowhere he's just fucking he just goes crazy.
Well, that's the thing.
He goes
about
cuckoo.
Space madness.
That's what it is. How am I supposed to?
You just snap, motherfucker. You think you straight and then bam, you snap, motherfucker.
No, that's
nah.
That's your perspective, bruh.
It's
like
space madness.
No, there's no context clues to why that happened. There was no like, oh man, he's feeling a little funny. Oh no, he's been taking his medication,
and when
he hasn't been taking his medication. But no, he just goes insane for no reason.
When your man snap on you, bro, it's gonna be just like that. You ain't gonna see shit come. Man, I realize it feels like we're spending a lot of time on this episode, but I think that this is, bar none, the densest episode of the entire series. There is so fucking much that happens in this episode.
This episode explains everything.
This episode explains everything.
In one episode.
It really does.
I feel like this is where the show kind of starts. Almost, in a way.
You gotta bury this one. You gotta bury this one deep. There's a reason they saved it till you were 16 episodes in the hole. They saved this for the real ones. And you know who you are. You know you big dick or big clit.
Are you saying there were quitters out there?
There are people, there's quitters out there. But what gets me, that's probably weird, is given how most people encounter this stuff in a non-serialized form, people who came in on this episode were probably like, oh, this is a very straightforward show.
Yeah.
They're like, this is a very A to B, B to C show, yeah.
To me, it almost felt like a show where time didn't matter. You know those shows where like nothing changes after episode after episode after episode almost? There's like no goal in that, like those shows, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of one in my head, but I can't really think of one. Like Ed, Edd n Eddy. There's no like
half of Bebop.
Yeah, there's no Bebop. There's kind of
I'm out here fighting a magician in a top hat, and you're like, how does this play into the final episode?
We'll talk about that because I do have my thoughts about that too. But I forgot where I was going with this. But
there's definitely core episodes, and then like there's episodes that aren't filler per se. They're meant to like personify.
It came to the point where there's like there's too much donuts, and there's not enough shooting.
Yeah, the animation is really good, honestly, in this episode in particular. I feel like this episode has like 80% of the budget of the whole season.
Like this episode gets super like Christopher Nolan / like 2001 Space Odyssey on you.
Yes, as Rowan is losing his mind, he's trying to shoot the kids. He's trying to shoot everyone. He says something is broken inside of me. I can't stop. Rem, for the second time in her life, Rem for the 40th time this week finds herself standing between someone holding a gun and something else. There's someone like trying to shoot a turkey, and Rem's like, "You can't do this. You can't. You don't. No one has the right to take another life." Like you're trying to carve the Thanksgiving turkey and Rem just stands in between you and it. And she's like, no one has the right to dictate anyone else's body. She's really a wet blanket.
She's a saint.
But the man gets blown out the airlock.
By the captain.
Captain Joey.
Because the captain didn't trust like the guy.
Because,
I think that's the right thing to do, though.
Yeah, if I'm the captain, I'm blowing that fucker out the airlock the minute he points a gun at another human. I'm like, no.
Not another one. Not another one. He cannot shoot another one.
We do not even need to deal with this.
Yes.
He's like, I have 5,000 people on this ship. I need to coordinate 4,000 other ships. Don't have time for it. This is space, people.
You're fired.
When you're in space, shit's serious. No one has time for any of your shit. But the problem with this is when Rowan gets blown out the airlock, he drops his pistol on the ground, and who picks it up other than a sadistic 13-month-old baby?
Diapers.
Goo goo gaga indeed. So yeah, Knives kills the captain and then reprograms all of the... He sends out an algorithm or something to hack all the ships, to say crash all the ships. Crash them all into Planet Gunsmoke. Remember, Gunsmoke was encountered at the start of the episode, and they say this planet's mostly sand, uninhabitable. Fuck it, but let's maybe send a crew down to see if they've got flowers on it. But otherwise, this is not where these human cargo are supposed to be going. Right. They're supposed to be going to Earth 2.
Good Earth.
Haven't you heard about Earth 2? Fucking everyone's got cotton candy unicorns over there, man. It's fucking baller. We don't have water. We have Mountain Dew. It's like insane. Everyone gets a gun. Everyone gets everyone is American on Earth 2. Doesn't matter where you come from. When you get to Earth 2, you're American. It's great. It's fucking amazing. We've got clones of Donald Trump and Barack Obama.
That's weird.
Just got a lot of
just leaders.
Just we've got all the world leaders. And you can just release them into a firing range and fly over with a helicopter.
That sounds very selfish.
It's Earth 2, bro.
That sounds like all the celebrities, the people that have money, got the chance to go to Earth 2. And all the peasants die on the decrepit Earth 1, shitty Earth 1.
We just call it Earth, but...
It's like, I had $250,000 to get a ticket on one of these second chance space flights. You know what I'm saying? They could just freeze me up and I'll wake up in a new planet.
Yeah, I my grandma died and I put the $10,000 she gave me into Bitcoin and it really worked out for me, so I got to be on Earth 2.
As President of the United States, me and Michelle... we wanted to go to Earth 2. We wanted to see what it's like and possibly start some democracy.
The rumor is that we're trying to create a better world on Earth 2 and we're just going to leave you all here on this Earth.
Earth 2 is going to be real chill.
It's all fake. It's all fake.
Me and Sasha are very excited.
But it is sad. So Knives is going for the whole kit and caboodle here, though. He's not trying to kill Rem. He's not trying to kill the humans on that ship. He is trying to end all of the remains of humanity. Holy shit. This is Doomsday level. Vash tries to fist fight him. Knives whoops his ass because Vash is a pussy. And if you haven't learned that by this point, I don't know what to tell you. So Rem manages to reverse the ships, though. Rem's like, I've got to stay behind. You boys go. I'll stay behind, and I'll try to stop all this from happening because this is literally the worst thing that could ever possibly happen.
This is the end.
This is... Where's Bruce Willis? Because this is like the fucking end. This is... But the stakes get so high so fast here. And we realize now that the humans that are on the seed ships that are descending, they managed to save a percentage of them. But the majority of them are sent back off to Earth too. And then the ones that remain, we assume they can't turn around to save them.
So some made it to Earth too.
Maybe, they might have been eaten by a space squid or something. There's a lot of other things that could go wrong. But yeah, I guess this is just going to be a funny tale when they get to Earth 2. It's going to be like, oh, you all left with 1,000 ships. How many arrived? And it's like,
I bet that's where the show would have gone if it went like 6 seasons or some shit.
You think Vash leaves Gunsmoke?
Or maybe Earth 2 finds Gunsmoke.
Well, that's where the manga goes. Earth 1.
Really? Okay.
In the manga...
That's immediately where my head went. I was like...
In the manga, Earth 1 does get a little bit involved. A little more. But Rem manages to save some of the ships. But the problem is everyone that Rem saves is in deep sleep. Everyone that Rem saved, for the most part, isn't even going to ever know this happened. They're just going to be like, hey, what happened to like 30, 40 of the ships that we left with? And it's like, I don't know. I was in deep sleep. Were you in deep sleep? Yeah, I was in deep sleep. And it's like, I don't know, here we are on Earth 2 with our fucking cotton candy unicorns. Who gives a shit? But for the ones that didn't get saved, the ones that Rem wasn't able to reprogram in time, they have to come crashing down to Planet Gunsmoke. And this kills like 90% of the... I mean, it's hard to think of the numbers here because you
can't bring up numbers.
You can't bring up the numbers because you're like, well...
You're not supposed to know the statistics?
Well, it's like 90% of humans are dead by the nature of the fact that we're on these ships to begin with. So the human population is already like sub 1 billion, maybe sub 1 million. And you've got a couple thousand humans all crashing to the surface of this ship, only a few hundred surviving or so. But all over the surface.
It's weird. So they're all like clueless humans?
But then, well, these are all the grandchildren.
It seems like they are.
These are all the they're not clueless, but they didn't know what was going on. Like, each ship is like 6 or 7 people protecting, like, I think they say like 5,000 or so people per ship.
Only 5,000?
I don't know. There's people in deep freeze, though. But it's hundreds of ships, though. The Seed Project, this is like a fleet of ships. Because dozens crash onto the surface of Gunsmoke. They lose dozens of ships. And most of these people die. So at all points, humanity is getting whittled down. So I don't know what the population is of Gunsmoke when the fall happens. But we then shoot to 107 years later. And this is the big reveal. This is the reveal of reveals of the series. That, well, this whole episode is the reveal that Vash is way less like a human than you thought he is.
Yeah, and where they are, because this whole time you're just kind of guessing.
You think it's Earth.
Yeah.
From episode 1, you think, oh, this is Earth in the year like 5,000 or something.
Yeah. There's no clues as to what, what's going on.
Because you're like, what kind of alien planet would have a bunch of people with fucking cowboy hats on it? What are the odds?
To be honest, though, this is really like a little far out. Like, we would have been dead, dude. There wouldn't have been villages and shit.
You don't believe in them? You didn't watch The Martian? You don't believe in...
You don't believe in that.
I know I don't.
You don't believe in the Martian. That's exactly what I'm trying to point out, is the fact that, like, this is... Like the situation is like this fucking bleak, and yet like humanity somehow finds a way to thrive on an uninhabitable planet. It's so-called uninhabitable. You know?
I know they were like, we shouldn't even bother. They wanted, if they could have, they would have touched these seed ships down immediately. They hated being cooped up on them, but they're like, no, gotta get to Earth too. So the next couple episodes are really a montage of pain for Vash. He's dealing with the gung-ho guns, who we learn are at the behest of Knives now. Now that we know who Knives is, he's the big brain behind it all. And everything that's been happening, this humanoid typhoon caravan that Vash has been living his life as, is entirely a result of the fact that Knives and him have this squabble over the fate of humanity that it's kind of bonkers to think that 100 years later these guys are still fighting over decisions that they made when they were 11 months old.
And you realize Vash and Knives are the only people that know about this conflict. The reason why, like, it's the reason to everything. It explains the reason why they're there, you know, and nobody knows.
The whole of the human race is collateral damage.
Like, what's
for
the population like 100 years later in this kind of environment?
Let's say of the whole Earth, it's probably like 100,000 or something.
In 100 years, okay. With 5,000 people and some ships that mostly died, probably.
Hey, if I'm crashing on an alien planet, I'm not having kids. But what do
it's got to be more than 5,000 people because like,
it wasn't one ship. It was several.
It was several ships. That's what I'm saying. And there was like just crowds of people fighting for, like, they're trying to distribute water. There's like scenes where they're trying to, like, you know, depict like initially before they built the buildings, before they built the bars or whatever, before whoever figured that out, like people were like just distributing water and they just like couldn't organize well enough to, like, you know, quell the chaos. I don't know. It seems like a big dumpster fire when it comes to like how civilization turned out to be in this world.
Yeah. I feel bad. This is a terrible reality. I would love to live in the world of Cowboy Bebop. I would love to live.
There's casinos in that
I'd
world.
love to live in the world of Outlaw Star. Fuck a lizard woman. The world of Trigun, there is very few points of light. Very few. Humans are... This is a story where humans are entirely background characters from beginning to end. They're like, Wolfwood is the closest thing to a person that you can even begin to register has any bearings on this world. And we'll get into what happens to him. But so we cut to the next episode. After the big incident, after activating his angel arm, Vash is on hideaway. He's stowing away in a town under the name Eric's, trying to do what he normally does. Because we've been pointing it out. We pointed out in the last episode. The Vash really... There's no reason he needs to tell people he's Vash the Stampede.
Yeah.
And I understand it's small town syndrome. When you've got a town with a population of 200, some guy shows up, everyone's like, who the fuck is that guy? But the word Vash, there's no reason he ever has to even use it ever again.
He could have forgot it.
He could have just, someone's like, who are you? And it's like, my name's Ernest. And he could have just gone with that. And more than half of the problems that he has encountered in this entire series would go away immediately.
Yeah.
But he's at this bar, he's hiding out, and the ugliest man to ever breathe shows up stating that he's Vash the Stampede. It's almost the first episode all over again.
He's like Jaggy, dude. He's trying to be Fist of the North Star.
This guy's not as sexy as Jaggy.
No,
Come on, no. Jaggy fucks. This guy doesn't.
Jaggy's been through more pain than this guy has, for sure.
Right? Jaggy can get a girlfriend.
He looks like a character from Dragon Ball Z. He looks like he should like be in Frieza's army or some shit.
And this is the other seminal scene that I think is burned into my brain. This is, I think, maybe Vash's most important scene of the entire series. And I mean more important than any gunfight he gets in, any line of dialogue he has. This is the scene that like this is the scene that I was like, this Trigun is a weird series. When I was like a kid, I didn't get this scene. But this man comes out, he's holding this woman hostage, and he says, if you don't want me to kill her or kill you, get naked, get butt-ass naked. Like, I want you to get on all fours, OnlyFans style. I want to see your taint, bro. I'm trying to...
Face down, ass up.
Yeah, get in downward dog, show us the full meat and potatoes, and bark like a dog. And Vash instantly is like, oh, that's all you need? That's all you fucking... That's my fucking fetish, bro. I'm just gonna jerk off to this later. Go, oh, fine, sure. You want me to go? Oh, don't make me get naked in front of all these people. Don't make me get naked and get on the ground like a dirty dog. Don't call me a dirty dog in front of all these people while I'm naked rolling around on the ground
For free.
Ooh, I would hate that. I would love nothing less than that. What's interesting, though, it's actually an oversight by the animators here, is you don't see Vash's prosthetic arm when he's naked. They just kind of paper over that.
Oh yeah. Is there a reason?
Well,
for that?
I'm not sure. It's just for one of the scenes, but then it's also when he's dressed as Eric's and he's wearing his Eric's suit. Like when he's Vash, he's wearing black gloves, and you see he's got like an X-shaped scar on his hand because we learned that Vash and knives cannot heal in the traditional sense.
Yeah, they don't yeah.
They have every scar they've ever gotten all over their bodies.
It's permanent.
Yeah, and the scar on Vash's hand goes away when he's dressed as Eric's. But yeah, I think that Vash being willing to get butt-ass naked and just flash his taint to a crowd, as silly as it is, it's the most pacifistic move I think I've ever seen an anime character do.
It's the selfless quality that they have to show within most protagonists.
But I don't know if any protagonist has gone this far. I've seen normally...
You don't think Goku would do this? You don't think Gon would do this?
No. Gon would beat your ass.
I don't know. I feel like Gon would do
Gon would beat your ass and be like, I don't like bullies.
No, he's the one that is always trying to find the peaceful way out. Again, with Hunter x Hunter 2, it's like Killua is like the opposite. He's the one who would be like, no, let's just kill these. I hate bullies.
But there's always the veneer of you need your main character to be cool.
Vash is cool.
Vash, I mean, he's kind of cool, but... Okay, Vash is cool.
He's not cool.
He's cool, but he is absolutely a baby.
He's a goofball.
He's a pussy, though. He cries. If you were on an
what protagonist doesn't cry?
But I mean, if you were on an airplane.
Name one protagonist that doesn't cry.
Guts.
He never cried.
He never cried at something that
wasn't in pain, dude.
That wasn't justified. Vash cries over everything. Vash cries when a girl doesn't answer his phone calls, bro. Vash is totally like tweeting pictures of himself crying.
He's a simp, I get it, but like he's
a cool dude.
It's the unusually over selflessness character, that quality that he has to show. I'm
saying though, always trying to be cool or badass. Give your character a badass. This is something I'd want to ask Yasuhiro Naitao about. Is what was going through your head when you had Vash become what I think one of the most selfless anime characters I've ever seen? Because this is different from throwing yourself into the void so that you can kill a god and stuff. This is just...
He's like Japan's pacifistic Deadpool.
But I'm just saying, I don't know of another character that would humiliate themselves like this. Goku wouldn't
Yeah, he would.
Goku wouldn't pee in his own mouth if you asked him to.
He did. That's not what he asked Vash to do.
But Vash would. Vash would in a heartbeat. If you said, "I will kill myself if you don't pee in your own mouth."
Who knows if he can pee or not?
Come on, man. He can. Come on. Don't take this from me.
No. We're backpedaling now. He's not a fucking human.
He's a plant. He needs more water. he needs toilet water.
Yeah, plants don't pee.
Plants don't pee. I guess you got me there. But this, I don't know. I appreciate this. Wolfwood approaches Vash, and he's just like, "What is this bullshit you're doing here, man?" Vash hits him with the ooh eyes, and he's just like, "You're running, man. What the fuck are you running from?" And Vash is like, "I don't remember the thing that happened. I just remember waking up here with Lena's grandmother." And this girl, Lena, Wolfwood tosses Vash's gun. He's like, get your fucking self together, man. This whole episode is about Vash trying to run away from the bullshit he caused. I don't know. I feel bad for the guy. I feel bad for the guy, but I
bad for Vash.
I do, but I recognize that he's probably tired. He's been doing this for 100 years.
I mean, look at his body, dude. You would be tired. You'd probably be dead.
But you can't keep running like this, homie. It's just ridiculous. Changing your name, trying to pretend you're someone else. Knives is gonna find you eventually.
You sound like you're trying to lecture Vash. You sound like his mom or something.
He's being a pussy. He's being a big old pussy about it. He's got to rip that Band-Aid off. And
You're being a tiger mom. You're not being Rem.
Because I don't love him.
Yeah, you don't, clearly.
But
You appreciate the qualities, though.
I like what Vash... I think Vash is... Rewatching this series...
He's a purist.
He is one of the most sympathetic anime characters I've ever encountered, even to this day. Looking back on everyone that I've seen since then, only the characters in Mob Psycho, I think, come even close to this level of love for their, not fellow man, because he's not a man, but his inability to see beyond the love that Rem showed him in the first 11 months of his life, and thinking that's his only, that's all he knows about humanity. He only had a year and some change with humans before the catastrophe happened.
Yeah. So
he probably thinks that every woman has the potential to be as sweet as the nicest. If your only girlfriend ever ended up being a supermodel, you would have such a skewed sense of what the dating world is like. You know?
In what way?
I'm just saying Vash had his only experience with humanity was a woman who was literally the most sympathetic person on the ship because she was the one that
there
was
other women on the ship.
Yeah, but they were standing back I mean, the men want to kill those kids, so I'm not going to stop them.
I guess.
They're we've all killed kids. Come on, Rem. Stop being such a stick in the mud.
That is a crazy version of a simp. It's not getting over your mom.
His mom's love
He's
is
a mama
all,
boy.
Vash is the mama's
Knives
boy.
Needed a dad, dude.
Knives needed a dad to set him right.
It's really bad.
Vash
too. Vash too. Maybe none of this would have happened if they had a dad.
So we get into this shootout. The shootout doesn't really. It's there's a lot of cut away, cut back. The shootout's over. Things happening here. But the point is, what we learn is that it has been 5 months since the Augusta event. There are only 7 major cities now on the planet, and one of them's been destroyed. From here, Vash agrees to stop trying to run away from his problems, stop trying to hide from Meryl and Millie and Nicholas Wolfwood. We actually cut to Meryl, her perspective of this whole thing. It's been 5 months since she last saw Vash, and she gets a hit that he's in Little Jersey. And they're like, we got to meet back up with him. The girls want to get back with Vash. Wolfwood wants the team to get back together. And they're trying to investigate a bunch of disappearances that are occurring. A lot occurs, but this is all a setup to get us to a satellite spaceship. We learned that one of the satellites, or that one of the ships, the seed ships, didn't fall.
Yeah, it's kind of kept in limbo.
It's managed to keep its thrusters running for 107 years. And the people on it are the descendants of... There are actually people on it that Vash knew because they were the children of the people when the crash happened.
I think he just discovered it on one of his journeys over the past 100 years, I thought.
Yeah, Vash is able to access when Vash would uncover the wreckage of these ships, he's able to access the data on them. He's familiar enough with their programming and such that he possibly was able to figure out where this thing was located by accessing like the navigational systems of some of the other wrecked but possibly still functioning ships, as seen by the robots that we saw earlier.
Yeah, but he had to gain the people's trust, though.
Yeah. This Vash gets up there, and we learn a little bit more about the world. We learn that these people are rightfully skeptical of strangers because they've been their entire existence should have never even happened. They've been living on this.
They're unscathed. They're not wastelanders.
They're not.
They're like people from the vault in Fallout. You know, in a sense.
There's no good options. You're either living in a vault or you're living in the wasteland.
If you live in a vault in the middle of a wasteland, of course you'd be super strict on outsiders, you know? You smell it off of them. You smell the filth.
But we learned that this was all actually a plan for Vash to go back here because the gung-ho guns, those same gung-ho guns,
and they follow him.
They follow him because there's a man named Benson Freeze. He's being controlled by the Puppet Master. Man, these poor people. This is so sad what happens. But all of the gung-ho guns manage to make it onto this ship. We get Gray the 9 Lives. We got Hopper the Gauntlet. And we get Leonef the Puppet Master?
Yeah, Leonef or
Leonov. And Vash hasn't been on this ship in 20 years. It's been 20 years since
everybody grew up.
Yeah, there's kids who are like, there's people that were toddlers now who are middle-aged women.
There's a girl that had a crush on him.
Right? She was like, I was 5 when we first met. Now I'm 25.
He automatically gets like a girlfriend as soon as he gets on the ship.
And it's always weird.
But he's weirdly like, well, she's underage, right?
No.
She's like 17 or 18.
Okay, so I don't know how long it's been since Vash has been back, but it's been 20 years since he's seen the doc. But I think it's been 20 years since Vash last came to this ship.
Because like as pervy as he is, he's weirdly like not into her.
Because he knew her when she was like 4 years old.
I guess that would be weird. But like what does that mean to a guy that's lived over 100 years?
I don't know. I'm not qualified to answer that.
He's been like trying to fuck everything he sees. And then like now that this girl, like the one girl that shows like this much affection to him, like he doesn't, like he's just like, nah.
But Wolfwood's on this ship disrespecting it. He's like fucking smoking cigarettes and stuff. He's like, "Hey, you people need to fucking break out of your walled garden."
He's like, you need a Bible.
And they're like, "You make this place stink, bro. It smells like cigarettes and gun smoke because of you." He like smokes a cigarette and like puts it out inside, and it's like, dude.
But that's like the contrast of like what etiquette is on Gunsmoke. There is no etiquette. Like nobody.
Why would anyone
like,
want to deal with a wastelander when you're acting like this?
Whereas like these untouched, this untouched civilization, if you will, this North Sentinel Island, if you will. It's just supposed to depict like the difference between like what they're used to.
And this, I feel so bad. I just feel so bad because these people start getting mind controlled by Leonov. He starts making these pedestrians kill each other, kill themselves, kill their friends, kill their families. Hopper the Gauntlet shows up. He starts killing pedestrians. Gray the Nine Lives just starts killing pedestrians. They don't care. They don't care about any of this shit. No one cares about anything. Wolfwood's there. He just opens fire inside the ship. These people were living such comfortable lives for 107 years in the wasteland.
I felt the guilt. Now I truly feel the guilt for Vash because like, death really does follow him. Tragedy really does follow him. You want to believe that it doesn't. You want to believe that it's not Vash's fault, but it really is.
Yeah, like even when Vash blew up the city of Augusta, I felt kind of how I do whenever New Orleans gets hit with a hurricane, where I'm like, yeah, but they kind of deserve it. Whenever Miami gets hit with a hurricane, I'm like, yeah, fuck them, Jeez. But it's not my fault that they're godless. But when this happened, when these people these kids, these fucking like men, women, and children whose parents, it's like the dream of being a parent that you do everything you can to protect your child. And to be like, my grandfather managed to keep me from having to kill for water. And then my mother kept me from having to kill for water. And hopefully my child will never have to kill for water. And to see all of that, 100+ years of that, all get fucked up. I'll get fucked up because of two people. And yeah, they're our main characters. And yeah, maybe Wolfwood's right. These people need to learn how to deal with trauma or something. But no, it's like, dude, 107 years, you know what that means? That means that my dad literally never dealt with some shit like this, which means I'm not obligated to. We don't have to deal with this.
Like, I kind of wish they never showed up.
I absolutely wish that Vash never showed his fucking face around here.
Because the whole episode, you're thinking to yourself, please don't destroy this ship. Please let this thing be still floating in the sky. Because it's such a cool idea, that there's a floating city up in the sky. And now it's just fucking fucked.
Yep. Vash gets a new arm, which is fun. We get some flashbacks of Vash and Knives fighting, and Vash, Knives being like, "What's wrong, brother? What's the problem? Are you really gonna point your gun at me, brother?" Vash has to shoot Knives in the dick. We find out. But then we cut back to these. Vash is getting a gun pulled on him by Brad. Because people are starting to kill themselves. People are starting to die. Brad doesn't trust that these people, that Wolfwood and Vash aren't the cause of it. And it's just all downhill from here. They,
because the battles start at this point.
Yep. Wolfwood pulls out the Punisher. It's... God damn, it's such an audacious
weapon. It's crazy how, Wolfwood is not concerned about getting off the ship first.
Yeah.
It's as a Christian man, Like, wouldn't you want to like leave the ship? Like, why aren't you concerned with how this thing is still up in the sky? Like, it's insane to me that you're shooting projectiles inside such a, like, what if you empty out an Uzi in like a NASA spaceship?
Right.
Like, that is disastrous. The whole mission is over.
It's like there's no like every pipe, every wire. There's not like any unnecessary gear in this ship, dude. Like,
I just feel like the first bullet will make everything explode. Like, that's how I feel. You know,
I feel that way whenever it's like we're watching Big O all over again, and we're just watching buildings.
But they're not just throwing bullets, dude. They're like throwing grenades and shit. There's like explosions going on. It's like there's no chill. There's absolutely no chill when it comes to like, I don't know. I thought these characters would have a little more common sense. You know.
Right. So they all get into the fights with their gung-ho guns. Wolfwood determines that Gray the Nine Lives is actually two midgets in a trench coat. Shoots him with a rocket.
That's the mystery, boys.
But yeah, Vash ends up fighting Hoppard. And this is an interesting story. Hoppard the Gauntlet, he's like a cricket man with a giant shield. And Vash doesn't want to kill him, but this is one of the many times in the series Vash is going to be stressed with, are you going to kill this man or not? But what's cool is in the manga, the fight between Hoppard and Vash is a little bit more significant because Hoppard is, do you remember during the fight he says something like, do you think I just like chose for my body to look this way?
Yeah.
Apparently, Hoppard is a man that was injured in the July incident. He's like one of the only survivors of the first Angel Arm incident.
I'm mad that they didn't depict that in the show.
Yeah,
that's a cool detail.
Lots of strange budget considerations in the adaptation. But yeah, that's why Hoppard, the fight between Vash and Hoppard is supposed to be a real reflection point for Vash.
Like, this gung-ho has a real reason to be after Vash.
Yeah, and that's why he's fighting him.
He's on a quest to redemption, you know?
Yeah, he's the main character of his own story. But they managed to subdue him, of course, but not before Hoppard, in his fury, throws himself at the ship's core so that he can cause it to overload, causing the fucking whole thing to fall into the Planet Gunsmoke, cause everything to be ruined. Vash manages to mind meld with the ship with the power of love, baby. And also because he's a plant. It's the second time Vash has done this, but it's actually like the third time Vash has done this in the series. He's mind melded with the robots twice, but it's the first time that we've explicitly seen him do it.
Right.
We've now whittled down the majority of the gung-ho guns. There's only Leonef, the puppet master, left. He is sitting out in the field controlling his puppets with his weird ruby thing. And then Wolfwood comes in and fucking hits him with the fucking rocket launcher on some Quake 4 shit.
He gets 100 points. He gets the XP.
Legato's watching all of this, and I wish we got a little bit more time with Legato. I don't want to just keep plugging things that I read within the manga here, but that's interesting is in the manga.
Is there a deeper story with him as well? Obviously.
Legato was a sex slave. And I don't...
That explains everything, dude.
That's why he's
That explains everything.
He hates humanity.
Of
God,
course.
he hates humanity. Legato is like, yes, look at all this exquisite misery. This beautiful misery.
In the show, you never find out what his motives are. You're just thinking, oh, he's working under knives. Like, that's about it. That's all they discuss in the show. Like that's a huge detail to leave out. I don't know. This is important stuff there.
But they're all dying. Everyone's dying. Everything's ruined. Everything's fucked up. Everything's going bad. The ship crashes. But you know what? Brad has accepted the fact that Jess is gonna probably have sex with Vash at some point. So he agrees to be cucked. He's like, all right, Vash.
He's not cucked. It's not his girl. He's trying to get the girl.
Brad's getting cucked.
He
right
likes
now.
no. You don't even know what cuck means. Then
You're
using it wrong. You're using the word wrong. That's not his girl.
Brad dies a simp.
But that doesn't make him a cuck.
But not
a simp and a cuck are two different things.
But not before he dies, giving out one of the many ominous lines of this series. He says, it looks like he must have been one of the ones, those that live outside time.
Because when Vash first comes onto the ship, they all notice how, Jesus Christ, he didn't age like one bit. Mm-hmm. But they don't even question it either, I guess, because
they don't know what normal is.
Yeah, that's true.
No one knows what normal is anymore.
They're like, why hasn't he aged at all? They're like, you look exactly the same 20 years ago.
Yeah. 1 second here. So, yeah, we spent a lot of time on Legato here because, honestly, the gung-ho guns are starting to run a little thin. You start wondering why they're throwing these people at Vash in a
aggressive way.
In this very orderly manner for him to pick them off. But the Vash and Wolfwood are in the desert. They're slamming hooch. The episode's called Alternative. And they're going to the city of Kibas. But no one will let them in without a payment. So they're trying to figure out what's going on with these street urchins. There's a whole lot of bizarre shit going on in this episode. This is an episode mainly about Zazie the Beast. And
well, at first you don't know him as Zazie the Beast. He's just a fucking jit.
Just a jit.
The whole episode, dude, until the end, it's like you think this is just some jit that for some reason Vash and Meryl like. I don't know. Woodwolf seems to, and Woodwolf, you find out especially in this episode that Woodwolf is like a sucker for kids.
Yeah, Wolfwood cares way too much about the children.
Not in the weird way. Not in a weird way at all.
In an overly sympathetic way.
Yeah.
And we get one of these shots of, God, we got so many weird shots of Legato talking to Knives in like a blue hyperbaric chamber being like repaired or something. In like the same chamber, Goku's in a chamber next to it, you know? And it's just like, you in the tube too, bro? And Wolverine is in another tube next to him.
They're still frozen. It's like, what are Legato and Knives planning?
Mr. Freeze's wife, Martha Freeze, she's
but not Mr. Freeze.
He's looking for the antidote, but all of these people, they're just in one big tube together.
That's a funny bit. No.
But yes, Legato is doing what he does to try to make Vash come out of hiding, which is Vash starts to hear reports of disappearances. There's been disappearances happening. And every time Vash hears about disappearances, what it is it's Legato making hundreds of people at a time kill themselves so that Vash can't not investigate it.
It's a hell of a power.
It's a little, like, Legato's a strange villain because his only weakness is how viciously suicidal he is. But this episode, we get Zazie the Beast and Mid-Valley the Horn Freak. It's just about, the only thing with Zazie is he's controlling these worms. If there was close to being a filler episode for the gung-ho guns, I feel like this is it.
Yeah, I didn't really like this episode, if I'm going to be frank with you.
Vash hits the orphans with like a speech and everything, and it's fun. And Wolfwood punches Vash because he says he's acting like a goddamn kid and he calls him a wimp. I appreciate that because Vash is a wimp, and you got to get him at every chance. But for the most part, the big thing about this episode is really just that you get some time with Wolfwood and Vash hanging together before this big reveal at the end, which is a man in black staring at Vash and Wolfwood from atop a mountain off in the distance. A man we're going to learn is named Chapel. And Chapel is...
We'll get to that.
Oh, well, we're here. We're here.
It explains it here?
No, we're at Paradise. Paradise.
Oh, you're just going to finish? Okay. I mean, I thought we were still in the middle of Zazie the Beast or whatever.
It's Zazie controls the beasts with sound.
No, but like at the end, like the Woodwolf has to go through the like a really difficult choice of either he had the same choice as the captain did on the ship, where it's like, you know, do I end this or do I let this play out? You know, which one would be the better choice? And it's like and he just decides to seal it. He just decides to just nip it in the butt and just shoot Zazie, right? While Vash is just like pleading for Zazie to just like see reason, you know. But obviously this kid's a psychopath. Like he's not even a kid.
It is funny. He's like, I hate children.
Yeah.
He's like, children are wretched. I hate them. They're weak. And I hope they die.
Yeah, and it's like I'm totally on Woodward, and this is why I hate like all the doom and gloom that comes after this, because it's like this thing is a piece of shit. Like he's broken. Shoot him in the fucking head. Like he hurt enough people. You know, keeping him alive is not like he's gonna hurt more people. He's gonna hurt you, Vash. He's gonna hurt like he could have died. You know, and Woodwolf nails Vash over the head with it. He's like,
you're being a fucking wimp, man.
Yeah, he's like, if I wasn't there, you probably wouldn't be here right now. Like, and Vash is still like, you know, and I guess I could see why you hate Vash now so much, because Vash is still like, you had a choice. Like
you had a choice, and Wolfwood's like, dude, sandworms, man, like some Dune shit, some Quitsats Hatterack shit.
It's like this scene This scene explains why Vash's morals is his biggest weakness, you know? His sympathy his empathy is the biggest weakness he has.
Would have gotten him killed here. Would have gotten someone else killed here.
Yeah.
And Wolfwood actually even says to him, he says, I don't need to hear your idealistic dreams right now.
It just reflects back to Knives and, you know, Vash with the spider web and the butterfly, you know?
Yeah.
In a neat way.
It is Vash, get it together. I don't want to hate Vash. I don't hate Vash. I would hang with Vash, but I would be very angry as I did it.
It's funny because prior to me watching this show, like you and another person was talking about how much you guys hate Vash. Like I watched the movies and I didn't understand why, but then I watched the show. And it's like, okay.
You watched Badland Rumble?
Yeah, first. Because I wanted just a little taste. I didn't want, you know. I just wanted to dip my toes in.
And so now we're in Paradise. We're in Paradise. The name of the episode is Paradise. Oh, one other thing I'd like to point out in the last episode, though. The big thing about the episode alternative is it's the first episode that starts to spark the relationship between Millie and Wolfwood.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're riding in the car and they're like having banter. They're having like the little meet cute.
You see chemistry.
Yeah, Millie's like, I'd love to fucking just sit on your face, Wolfwood. And he's like, and Millie, I'd allow it.
No, that's what, yeah, it was really interesting script.
It's what they said, man. It's like, you take it up with Funimation. But in Paradise, we open with Wolfwood I killed my first person at 7 years old. It's like, dude, excuse me? I was murdering my father. What?
He's a child soldier.
I guess. It's Planet Gunsmoke. There's no fucking rules anymore.
Zaza was a child soldier. A lot of child soldiers in this.
I hate... Zaza was so crazy. I hate children because they're children. Because they're weak and stupid and always begging for their mommies and daddies. And it's like, dude, they're 5.
His mom probably, like, crushed puppies for fun with their heels, you know?
I became a man at 8 years old.
I just hate life. I hate organisms that move.
When I opened my Lunchables and it didn't have the gushers in it, I knew that day that I was no longer a boy. I was a man.
You know how terrifying it is? Because that's pretty much every gung-ho gun.
They're all just twisted people.
They all just hate. Knives just like collected the most psychotic, most sadistic, maniacal people, most hurt people he could find.
Hurt people.
They're all hurt people, dude. The gung-ho guns are broken-hearted people that don't know how to deal with their I feel like I'm on Dr. Phil right now with these gung-ho guns.
These people have a lot of emotional pain. These people don't know how to make connections anymore.
Kane, come on down here now.
We just all want to feel loved. That's all any of us want.
You got to face your own problems, Kane. You can't deal with everybody else's problems.
But yeah, we get Wolfwood killing these people. I entered the foster system at 7 years old. No, Chapel adopts Wolfwood so that he can make him a child soldier. He gives him this crazy speech. He's like, life is an incessant series of problems, all so difficult.
And you must get it right every time.
Every
choice must be the right choice.
You must always make the right decision.
It's an intense lecture.
It's very Heihachi Kazuya.
He's telling this to us like an 11-year-old.
He's telling him a 7-year-old.
7-year-olds.
That's the crazy. Okay, so that's the thing that I was wondering now is Wolfwood claims to have been training with Chapel for 10 years. Is Wolfwood 17? Because when you say that, I look at him and I look at his character model and I realize that there's nothing about Wolfwood that says he couldn't be 17, but it's just strange that he's in a suit and smoking so many cigarettes. I guess he just feels so grizzled, you know?
He feels like a 20. I assume he's like 27.
Dude, I thought Wolfwood was like 30 when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I thought Wolfwood was way older than Vash.
I still think so.
Well, he's not. Vash is super old.
No, I'm saying like he's around like 27 or 30.
But
in my head, at least.
I guess maybe Wolfwood trained with Chapel for 10 years and then went off on his own for 10 years.
That's what I gather.
They don't give a lot of timeline. They just say he just says we trained together. I trained you.
You
for
could
10
just
years.
vaguely piece it together from the dialogue you get with Chapel and Woodwolf.
But they we also got another fun quote from Wolfwood. He says, "There's no place worse than this planet. It's horrible here." And I'm like, God damn, Trigun. There's some lines in this show that are just like bleak. Like you can't actually just get around them. But Vash is in this town. All these people are dead. The name Knives is written in blood in the town square because as is the move, Legato makes a bunch of people kill themselves. We gotta make those people kill themselves. Teach Vash a lesson. I'm running out of humans. There's only 7 major cities left. There's not a lot of people left, but I don't know. So Vash is getting angry about this. Wolfwood is off in an alley encountering Chapel. They have this like fucking hysterical like apple grabbing like, oh, you are still the apprentice and
you are still the student.
I am the master and you are the student. Wolfwood's trying to grab Chapel's apple, and it's so fucking hokey. I like a bottle of my finest Merlot to whoever drew this scene. Because it's really fucking funny.
It made me curious as to what Chapel could do. You know, I was like, I wonder what his like ultimate is. I wonder what stand he has. Like, I wonder what aura he's gonna pull out of his ass.
Oh, Chapel's ultimate would definitely be like he takes a bite of the apple and you just take like 500 damage.
He takes one bite of the apple and you take 500.
No,
Eat too much apples.
like,
You die of overfed apples.
your stomach just fills with bites.
Yeah.
For every bite of the apple
You just
I take.
explode of apples.
Everything that I eat multiplies
That's-
in your stomach.
Yeah, that's scary, dude.
He has to like make out with you first to activate it, though. That's his Nen condition.
No, that's not cool anymore.
You fulfilled the conditions of my Nen. Now that we've made out, I just gotta take
Now
a bite.
my powers activate.
You-
Now that I tongued your mouth real quick.
So Wolfwood, we learn, is Wolfwood is not a gung-ho gun, but he works for Chapel. Wolfwood knows who Knives is. He knows who Legato is. He's known who these people are for years, ?
He was hired.
And he just starts giving up the goods to Millie. Millie comes in and she's like, Mr. Wolfwood, what's going on with you? And Wolfwood basically just looks at Millie and he's like, was I right to shoot that kid? And it's like, dude, you can't be asking girls things like that, man.
Nah, man. It's
That's a heavy one, dude. Millie just came in with a fucking chamomile tea for your punk ass, trying to make you feel better.
yeah. She was like, you gotta eat your breakfast.
You need some breakfast, Mr. Wolfwood. You want some coffee? And he's like, Millie, did shooting that child make me a bad man? I made the right choice to shoot that kid, right?
And she's
I
like,
had to.
Millie says you had no choice. I would have done the same thing.
I would have shot that child too, Mr. Wolfwood.
She's just trying to sugarcoat it, you know,
Right.
as best as possible.
Meanwhile, Kane the Long Shot, one of the last gung-ho guns, after losing most of his friends off of his Snapchat feed over the last week.
He's an introvert. He doesn't talk to anybody.
No.
He hasn't spoken or he doesn't have a voice actor.
He posts a lot in the Discord, though.
Yeah, he's really talkative online. Here on Gunsmoke.
Yeah, he's like all over Reddit and shit. He like doesn't talk to people in person, but he's like you get on the guns and strangely enough the crocheting subreddit. Kane is big. Oh, he's a top poster.
Is there any manga depths with him? With Kane? None.
Yes, he was a dairy farmer who had hot milk spilled on him, and that's why he has to cover up his burns with that bodysuit. Now, I don't know what Kane the Long Shot's deal is, but he's setting up shop. He's like, I've got to make my move on Vash.
He's my favorite gun-ho gun.
Is he?
Yeah. I'm a sucker for snipers.
Sniper sucker?
I love snipers, dude.
You hear that? If you're a sniper, Sean will suck you off.
Look at that barrel, dude.
It is an impressive barrel.
We can't talk about Kane without talking about his piece, bro.
His fucking
His
unit.
rifle.
Dude.
Because that thing, it's literally longer than like 2 football fields.
It is very cool. When I saw this as a kid, I was immediately like, that's got to be real. Like, the Punisher, Nicholas Wolfwood's Punisher is silly and crazy, but Vash's gun and Kane, the long shot's gun, I was like, that's got to be real. This has to be real.
15, 20 tripods. 20 on
A bipod. Yeah, like.
yeah, bipods, I mean.
A gun with a 100-foot barrel. Only the Germans were so crass.
Germany, what will you come up with next?
This is what Hitler used to siege Berlin. Or not Berlin, Belgium. What am I saying?
By breaking the world record of the longest sniper rifle.
No, they had those. They had the guns on the train tracks in Germany that had like... They were like 100-foot barrel guns, yeah.
Oh,
they could shoot bullets the size of cars, like miles.
Oh, but I'm talking about like a normal size. Like a barrel that long, I don't think would realistically fire a bullet. You know?
It would maybe get to the end.
Did you see how bendy that thing was? It looked like, you know what tents are like, you know how you connect the rods, the rods? Yeah, yeah. It looked like those, but like really long, even longer. it's as if like if you pull it the wrong way, like the barrel will just fall apart. If you just disconnect the bipod, it'll just fall apart. You know. Yeah, cool, but it looks flimsy. I doubt it's practical.
It's got a very Slinky-esque vibe to it. I thought it was very fun, though. I want one of these.
Where are you going to put it, dude?
I want to shoot a moose with one of these. I do want a gun with a bipod. I want something serious. Maybe we should mount a gun on our balcony up here and just have it facing the road all the time. It'd be fun. I think this is a plan.
No flower pots, no chairs. We need a rifle.
A mounted rifle, just letting people know that we've got one in the bird's nest ready to fucking take you out at a distance.
Not even. It's just because it's cool. We don't want to shoot anybody. We're not going to shoot it. We have turrets outside the house, but we're never going to, like, make it work.
Yeah. So we cut back to Wolfwood, after crying and being enveloped in Millie's gigantic arms. We cut back to our boy Wolfwood, shirtless, smoking cigarettes, clearly post-Millie bang. Oh my God. Oh my God, where is Mid-Valley the Horn Freak? Because I need some smooth jazz playing on that sax. Because our boy did it. He sewed it up. Our boy Vash has been chasing the pussy since episode 1, man.
He had his chance.
He's been doing so much. He overthrew a water monopoly.
Hey, there's still another baddie in the gang.
There's still baddies out there. But Wolfwood absolutely seals the deal.
This is his Sakura, man. This is his sweetheart.
Don't you compare any woman to Sakura Haruno ever again. She is a piece of trash. She is garbage. She is one of the... Sakura might be the worst female character in all of anime.
I can't... I won't argue with you.
And so don't you do that to Millie. Millie is a treasure. And Wolfwood...
I'm saying it's what the fans wanted.
It's what we needed.
It's what the fans wanted.
So, gung-ho guns. It's happening. Wolfwood is betraying Chapel. He didn't want to.
Because Chapel told him, he's like, get your shit together. You're going to kill Vash. You're going to get all this money. And you are now a gung-ho gun.
You're now a gung-ho gun.
Yeah. Even though you still can't catch the fucking apple, you are a gung-ho gun.
I've got this members only jacket, and I think it's in your size.
Yeah. And then he has like this weird standoff with Vash, right?
Well, he does. Well, Vash is dealing with Kane while Wolfwood's dealing with Chapel.
I'm saying prior to like Woodwolf betraying the gung-ho guns.
Wolfwood
officially picking a side, because that's what Chapel came to do, was make Woodwolf choose a side.
Wolfwood goes to Vash and makes it almost seem like he's gonna shoot him, but then he realizes that he in this crazy world of Planet Gunsmoke where no one has friends, everyone's brothers gunning down brothers. He realizes Vash might be the closest thing to a friend I've ever had, man. And I actually want things to work out for this guy, so I'm not going to betray him. I'm going to betray my master. Chapel
that I never liked.
Chapel and Wolfwood get into a standoff. They both manage to injure but not quite kill each other. But our boy is injured. Vash manages to corner Kane the long shot, and Kane...
He's like, oh, like Vash is like, you could put down the gun now. He's like, you could reconcile. Like Vash is like, you could reconcile, or you could just go back home. And like Kane he just pulls out a pistol and just ends himself.
Oh my God, Kane does himself like a Foxconn worker working a double shift.
Or was it legato?
No. I think Kane. So this comes up as we move into the next episode, which we're going to do, but I want to point out first how absurd it is that these two men with giant crosses shooting at each other in this town. If you're just a bystander watching this, you've got to be like, what the fuck is happening to my town? What is going on outside?
What the fuck is happening?
What the absolute fuck? There's two priests shooting at each other with giant cross guns. This is nuts. And I saw Boondock Saints. But what's cool is, there's another manga poll. I guess I'm just going to keep doing manga polls. These guys are supposed to be from an order called the Eye of Michael. It is an assassin organization that partners with the gung-ho guns. They are a different organization, but they are an organization. There's actually another there's multiple members of the Church of the Eye of Michael in the Trigun manga. There's a lot of members. There's not just Wolfwood and Chapel. There's a guy named Livio the Double Fang. They're like an order.
Mm-hmm. They're creed.
Yeah. And so that's why you have all these men with giant cross guns. There's like 13 cross guns or something like that running around.
You see, I wish they just depicted that. That is so fleshed out. That is so like I want a whole show about that. I want a whole show about that faction. I want to know like the ins and outs of both, how these two in you know.
You want, and we can do this because it's the same people. It's Madhouse. You want Trigun Brotherhood.
No.
You want the Trigun that follows the manga 1-to-1, like brother.
No, I want more of like a spin-off. Like not even like, don't show me like Vash's story or Woodwolf's story. Like show me like how this organization came about. Like who's, you know, the center of this faction and the center of that faction. I don't know. It's just, it seems like they put a lot of thought into it and they just decided to leave it all out.
I do like the animes.
But this is what every manga does to the shows, I guess.
But I like how in the anime it almost conveys an even more hopeless Gunsmoke, where there aren't all these organizations. And it's like outside of Knives and Vash, there isn't damn near anything going on this planet. As you said, Knives and Vash are the only people kind of privy to what's going on. And for everyone else, it's just a struggle.
It's just senseless squalor. Just
trying to get water and food and maybe see a flower once in your entire goddamn life. And not
pretty meaningless existence.
Confirming everything that Knives thought of the human existence in the first place. But this is sad. Wolfwood... This is our last time with this man. Our mans is dying. Our mans was done's best by his master. And so though he hid it from everyone, he's like, I got to go to this church. I got to pray. He
didn't even have to die. He could have just, just killed one last guy. He could have just ended Chapel. But because he had, because he just spared his life, this is where it went.
And Vash made Wolfwood promise after this fight with Chapel to never shoot anyone ever again. He's like, Wolfwood, after this fight, you're never shooting another person ever. And Wolfwood agreed.
Wolfwood, when he defeated Chapel, he's like, I'm done. As if in a way where he's like, I'm done with all of this. I'm out of this. I'm not involved. Leave me alone. Go home.
Yeah, and... It's so weird, the back and forth of Vash just being, I don't know what I'm going to do when I see Knives. I just don't know what I'm going to fucking do. And the lack of resolution here is almost brave. There's one line in this episode that I keep thinking about it. I can't get over it. Is that Wolfwood asks Vash, he says, Vash, how about you tell me before this is over? Because Wolfwood's like, we might not make it out of this one, man. He's like, why don't you tell me what your real name is? And Vash says, my real name? And Wolfwood's like, yeah. And he's like, it's not important.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, why?
He's like, my name's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. Wolfwood.
And he's just satisfied and just runs off.
And it's we get this shot of Wolfwood The whole purpose of the crucifix, the Punisher, Wolfwood's cross, it is all from the jump, from the first time you see Wolfwood. It's all for this scene of him sitting there in the church, bleeding out, holding up the crucifix, like Jesus himself. Perching it up on the hill on what was the name of the hill that Jesus? Calvary.
I believe so.
Yeah, we get this Calvary shot of Wolfwood holding the cross up like Jesus, dying, on his knees, praying before the Lord.
In a church somewhere.
And he says stuff like, he takes a bite of the apple. He's like, man, that tastes good. And he's thinking about his last cigarette. And he's like, man, that last cigarette tastes good. And he's thinking about Millie as his honey. He's like, oh, I could have been with Millie. Think about that. Maybe children or something. And he's like, oh, if I could come back, if I could be reincarnated and come back as like, oh, come back and be with Millie and Vash and Meryl. And this is, this is a quiet thing that happens. And I didn't realize how bizarrely distressing this was when I was a kid watching this scene. Wolfwood goes kind of crazy in the last, all right, you're in the hospital with your grandfather. He's dying. And it's like, oh, I see a light. And it's like, all right, grandfather. And it's like, oh, it's getting closer. It's getting warmer. I can see Jesus. And it's like, yes, grandfather, you're going to die. And then he grabs you and he's like, no, I want to live. I don't want to die. I'm scared. I don't want to die. I'm scared. I don't want this to end. I don't want it to end like this. I don't want this to be the end for me. No! Wolfwood goes out screaming about how he doesn't want to die, how he doesn't want this to be the end, how he's scared, how he's no.
Yeah, because he's thinking about Vash and Meryl, and like he finally found like his squad. Like he finally found like satisfaction within this shitty life that he's lived.
The last 3 sentences of the episode are, I am a man. Was everything I did in my life a mistake? I do not want to die this way.
He's like bleeding out, accepting it. He's like, my body's warm. It's also cold. He's just like slowly accepting it. He's like, I'll just live on forever with Vash and Meryl and Millie, forever on with the children. I'm going to live in an orphanage with Vash. And then he's like, wait, no, I could have that in real life. He's like, I could have it now. He's like, just let me live. And he tries, you could like tell, I honestly fell for it. I was like, oh, he's going to live. He's going to push on. Millie's going to find them and they're going to heal him. But no, he just like, sadly he goes. I was like, damn, that didn't need to happen. The one death that didn't, well, actually a lot, and all the lives, everybody that dies in this show didn't need to die, honestly.
It's such a sad...
To be honest.
Was everything I did in my life a mistake? I did not want to die this way.
Just anyone but Wolfwood.
That's so sad. That is the saddest last sentences of an episode I could possibly imagine. I did not want to die this way. I think about that.
The last seconds of regret.
Right? If we died before this podcast took off,
Or it's like the scariest one to hear is when they're like about to accept it and then they're like, wait, no, it's just dark. It's just black. No, no. And then he just,
no.
But
so now we're in the final stretch. This is it, guys. This is what you've been waiting for. We're in Legato and Wolfwood's underground base. Legato says some stuff. They're like, oh, here comes Chapel. You're not even worthy to be a fool, Chapel. And then I don't know what happens here. Knives like snaps his fingers and like sends Chapel to the shadow realm.
Yeah. It's he used one of the caster bullets.
He used a number. It's a number 9.
Yeah, he used a number 9.
But Chapel is, I guess.
Well, Legato like kind of just like twists his body around like first in a really peculiar position.
He breaks all of his limbs the whole time. He's like, such delicious pain. You're in pain, aren't you, Chapel? Don't you love this pain? Do you know what my favorite band is? It's 3 Days Grace.
You know what my favorite song is? Pain. Without love, pain. I can't get enough. I like it rough.
Chapel, do you want to ever like trade CDs or anything, man? I've got several copies of 3 Days Grace albums.
Chapel's like, I like Owl City more.
But yeah, this is so sad. They're so one note with this. They're just like, your sacrifice is meaningless, Chapel. You're worthless. You humans mean nothing. And Legato's just like, yep, I'm nothing. I mean nothing. My life is pointless. But this is Legato's episode. Yeah, as I said in the manga, you learn that Legato is a sex slave who was abused his entire life. He got his arm chopped off and then replaced with Vash's arm in the anime. And more, I don't know how Legato developed his psychic powers. In the manga, it's because he has like a lot of metal threads. He's literally like puppet master controlling people with metal threads. But in the anime, he just literally has psychic powers. But we're also going to spend some time with Mid-Valley. And what I'm seeing here is that I don't think any of the gung-ho guns liked working for Knives.
They're not supposed to.
But you think which gung? Yes, okay. I know that Monev the Gale, the very first one that we encounter, is like endless pain. My life is pain.
He was forced to work. Like, he's a slave, actually.
He was forced to hit the whey in the creatine.
He was underground in the dark for
20 years.
Yeah.
But it sucks that I thought they were like, E.G. Mine seemed to be having fun. Dominique the Cyclops seemed to be having fun. But I guess that we're learning with Mid-Valley and Legato on this episode that they basically are just working for Knives because they knew that Knives would just kill them if they didn't.
Yeah, there's no way.
They
can't reject the job application.
This is like if Kim Jong-un comes up to you and says, I'm taking you to prom. I'm sorry, whoever you are in North Korea, you're going to prom with Kim Jong-un now.
Yeah. You can't say no.
You can't say no to the supreme leader. Are you kidding me? And Knives is the supreme leader.
You'll never see another prom again if you say no.
And this is shown because Mid-Valley, the Horn Freak, attempts to make a move attacking Vash, attacking the crew. And the whole time he's doing it, he's kind of got like a pensive, like matter-of-fact look on his face. Like he's like, yeah, I work for Knives, the supreme being, and the guy who's going to take over the earth. And then it's like, why are you doing this, Mid-Valley? And he's like, I don't have a choice in the matter. And Vash is crying over these donuts that he's eating, trying to cover up the fact that
he's responsible for everybody that's dying around him. You know, like I totally get Vash now because like I couldn't live with myself after the seed village in the sky. I couldn't live with myself. Like, did you see how many people died? He's been with those people for what, like decades. He's pretty much like grown with these people, and he has to just like watch them all die just because he visited, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Knives even went so far as to find a guy who was like Rem's like cousin's son, and Knives waited until Vash arrives and shoots him dead just so he can be like, hey, I just killed Rem's last relative.
Like we say that we wish Vash and Wolfwood never showed up to the space station or whatever, but like Vash really wishes he never showed up. If Vash were to go back, he would never show up ever again, you know?
I genuinely don't.
He would give everything. He would sacrifice his own life to undo that.
It's a testament to Vash almost that he doesn't kill himself. And I mean that because I've never been suicidal a day in my life. I love myself, and I love the prospect of seeing humanity crumble before me far too much. But if I caused a satellite of untouched humans to crash to Earth, I would definitely feed myself to some crocodiles. I would feel like I didn't deserve. I'd be like, I'm a liability. Like, if I stay alive much longer, I don't know, the moon might crash into the planet or something. I think this is dangerous.
But he feels this, and he feels this the whole time, you know? Throughout the whole show, he feels responsible for everything that happens around him. It's my world is crumbling around me, and there's nothing I could do about it.
And Meryl and Millie notice, so in one of the crazier scenes, they come up to Vash, and they're like, Vash, what is wrong? Tell us what's going on. And Vash is like, all right, listen. Do you guys really want to know what's going on? And they're like, yes. And he's like, all right, Meryl, here's what's fucking up.
Yeah.
My brother and I are 130-year-old plant men. He blew my arm off because I shot him in the leg 30 years ago because he attempted to destroy all of humanity with a reclaimed cannon from one of the ships that crashed on Earth, or crashed here on Gunsmoke. And so to prevent him from doing that, I shot my brother in the dick, and I took his gun that's capable of destroying cities. And because I shot him in the dick, he's been so mad at me that he has been killing everything I've touched for the last 30 years to get back at me. And I am too much of a coward to just go fight him. So that's what's going on, Meryl. Half of everyone who has died since you have been a baby up till now has been because I'm a pussy.
Yeah,
that's what's
my brother hates me.
That's what's going on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm dealing with. And
that's a lot to drop.
I mean, these girls bust out the tears. Meryl is in shambles.
That's a weird reaction, because if I was in Meryl's shoes, I wouldn't know. I would think it's a joke. I think it's a bit. It's like, ha ha ha, that's crazy, Vash. That is insane, dude. Like, I think Vash is crazy. Like, I think Vash is like, I'll go to Millie and be like, yo, this guy is actually insane. There's no wonder why there's this bounty on him. But they buy it.
They buy it. I mean, so they let Vash go, and that's so Vash is on his own. He's like, this is dangerous.
The guilt catches up to him while he's trying to munch on these fresh donuts.
And it's not even guilt. It's irresponsibility, man. Vash should have dyed his hair brown, put in some green contacts, thrown away that red trench coat, and told people that his name was Ricardo. And he should have started doing that 80 years ago. Yeah. He should be changed. Vash should have a wig of every different color in his closet. Vash should never be the same guy 2 weeks in a row. He's... Because I don't know if Knives would be doing all of this if Vash wasn't... So much of this feels like a petty squabble at this point.
It is. That's what it is.
Wolfwood, or not Wolfwood, God, Wolfwood's gone. I can't believe I'm not going to be talking about him anymore. Legato makes the children in the neighborhood run up to Vash and start making fun of him for killing everyone that he's ever loved. Because Vash needs never-ending pain. This whole episode is just leading us to Wolfwood, or God, I keep doing that. It's leading us to Vash, Legato, Mid-Valley. We need to mop up these gung-ho guns before we go into our finale. And we need to figure out why Legato hasn't just mind-controlled Vash into shooting himself in the head. Because everyone's thought that since episode...
Maybe he can't do that because Vash is not human. Why can't he do that why can't Legato... If they don't like working for Knives, then why doesn't Legato just do that to Knives? Why doesn't he just make Knives kill himself? Because he loves pain and suffering so much. Like, what is Knives like? And this is what the old power, the omnipotent power of Knives, I guess you could say. I don't think it affects him.
Well, I mean, they don't even explain how Knives recovered from Vash using his angel arm at point blank and blowing Knives' lower body off.
Right.
Like, Knives winds up in a tank, in a healing tank, but we don't learn why Legato put him in there. Legato worships Knives. I mean, Legato wants humanity to end because he was a sex slave, so he wants everyone to die because I guess that's what all sex slaves want or some shit. But it's not truly demonstrated until this episode how viciously every gung-ho gun is suicidal to like a weird degree. I mean, Mid-Valley openly kills himself. Vash is like, your saxophone is gonna blow up. Don't use it, man. I fucking shot a hole in it. I know what's gonna happen here. And Mid-Valley's like, I
lost my B minor.
But it's this or the Shadow Realm, dude. That's it. It's a binary choice.
I would rather get killed by Vash,
than have what happened to Chapel happen to me.
Yeah.
End up like that, Mook. Look like a fucking stooge. Simping on OnlyFans.
Being sucked into black holes, literally.
That's no way to go. Not when you got a family. And Legato, though, the end of this episode is crazy. It is crazy, and I'm not sure if they aired this on Toonami or Cartoon Network when this happened, because I was like, are you allowed to have a guy just be like, yes, kill me, end this incomplete life. I welcome death. I welcome the end of this suffering that I exist in every day. This horrible, wretched life that I'm forced to live. Kill me, you coward, kill me. There's
a lot of that. I mean, if you could air Grave of the Fireflies on Toonami, you could air this. This is not that bad.
Yeah. Legato's asking for it.
He's not. There's not gore in this scene,
But it's not. It is the specific representation of life as a horrible experience from beginning to end. From the womb to the tomb. This is misery. This is incomplete. This is false. Your happiness is fake. Kill me. Kill yourself. Kill people. None of this matters. That is a level of nihilism. That's not just being grimdark and sad. The fact that when people die in Hunter x Hunter and that we move on from it, that's dark. But there's something different of saying life is fundamentally meaningless. Even the joys that you find in your day-to-day are lies that you are telling yourself. That's a very dark that's a pitch black message for children.
I mean, there's a bunch of that. There's all those lessons in other shows. I mean, this isn't that. It's not. No, they could show this on TV, dude.
I just think Legato.
I don't think it's that bad. Trigun, the way. Even it is what you describe it to be, but it doesn't. I feel like Trigun doesn't do as good of a job to depict that. It's not gory. There's not that much blood. I feel like it's very censored for what it's supposed to be.
It's for me the idea, and that's going into the last episode because Vash is forced to pull the trigger. He kills Legato
because he has the choice. Because Legato leaves Vash, leaves Vash no choice.
He's like, kill me, or I will kill everyone within 100, within 10 miles of here. I'm gonna make everyone kill themselves if you don't fucking kill me, dude. I am so over this. I don't get why Legato has not killed himself, but I guess it's because you can't.
He technically is. Assisted suicide is what it is.
I don't know what Knives would do to you if Legato tried to kill himself, but I guess Legato wants his death to cause Vash suffering as well.
That's his mission, dude.
It's so fucking weird. Legato's a weird character, man. He's not like a normal Starscream villain or a Jaggy. Legato is a strange kind of sycophant.
So is Legoshi.
Legato and Legoshi.
Yeah.
I hate this. So we get so we're going to the next episode where we see that Legato died smiling. He got shot in the fucking face with a smile on. He's like, yeah, I'm fucking dead. Finally.
He's sadistic and maniacal.
It's been 10 days since Vash killed Legato. He's he's being a crybaby about it. And he's wondering if there was another thing that he could have possibly done. He's sitting on the mountain. He's singing a terrible song to himself. And Meryl walks over and starts singing along with him.
Yeah, you said you're like, that's such a bad song. And then like Meryl's like, that's a nice song. That's a really nice song. Like right on cue after you said it was a bad song.
Right? It's just like, little soldier boy lost from home, go and collect pieces of the map.
That's what they listen to on Gunsmoke,
your way
man.
back home to where you came from, little
That's
boy.
facts, bro. That's
and
fire.
Meryl's like, great fucking song, dude. Like,
that's music on Gunsmoke, man.
yo, send me the link.
That's what's hot on Gunsmoke.
That's what's on the hype machine.
Yeah, they listen to the Midori soundtrack all day.
But Meryl's trying to bang. She's just trying to get it. But Vash witnesses some men at the base of the mountain. They're like, that's Vash the Stampede. People are freaking out. Vash is upset about the fact that he had to kill someone. So these townsfolk want to lynch him. And Vash is like, come on, lynch me.
This is the Vash you wanted, is like the I want to kill myself Vash.
Yeah.
This is that Vash. He gets to that point where he's like, I literally, like, my life's pointless. You know, why I live through this.
I'll never win.
This is the doom and gloom episode where all everything catches up to him, and he comes to this big resolution of, like, you know, self-forgiveness and moving on from your mistakes.
Everyone wants to kill Vash and lynch him, and this one man is like, smile when I kill you.
Yeah, they lynch him, and then they, like, gather around the town circle. Meryl is just like on her knees, just like you know, she's trying to reason with this guy, and this guy is just like, no, he killed my cousin.
Meryl gives a horse shit response here, because this guy's like, dude, this guy is like destroyed like 5 cities. He's killed my whole family, my wife, my kids, my whole family are dead because this guy won't go confront his fucking brother or whatever.
And this seals up the Vash is like kind of, you know, his psychological battle that he's going through, because that's when Meryl is like, you know, no one has the right to take a life.
No one has the right.
And then as he's looking up, he sees like that's exactly what Rem said to him. You know, nobody has the right to take away a life.
And then Vash realizes, he's like, I want to fuck my mom. Yes,
yeah, Meryl.
And the ghost of Sigmund Freud is just like, success. We have done it. Yes. Vash stands up off the therapist's couch. Yeah. He throws $100 on the table, and he's like, you've done it.
Yeah, Vash is like, I know who to smash now.
I've always wanted to fuck my mom.
Meryl.
Every girl I date is the same. Oh my God. I'm learning so much about myself.
He still doesn't even want to fuck Meryl. It's
But this is interesting. Vash, through his lynching, he learns of the beautiful prospect of Christian, specifically Catholic, redemption. Or as Bob Marley once said, redemption song.
Redemption song.
Right? So Vash is like, that's a tune I can dance to.
Yeah.
And so he's thanking the girls, and he's like, I'll do that. I will Catholic redemption my brother. I'll show my brother Bob Marley. I'll take it. I'll count rosary beads with him. I'll take him to confessional.
Meryl does look like she's always dressed for church.
Everyone in this anime, heavy Christian vibes. But Vash is like, I gotta head out. Don't forget my red coat. Find out that his coat's red because Rem loved geraniums. Doesn't every Japanese woman love geraniums?
Yeah, real classic.
Right? I remember the ending of Inuyasha.
Right.
And I think Cardcaptor Sakura, I think there's some geraniums in there. But they give him the crucifix before he heads out. They're like, make sure to take this. Vash is like, damn, this crucifix is heavy. And then Millie says, that's because it's so full of mercy. I'd be lying if I said I didn't like fucking, like, oh, goddamn.
We forgot to mention the guy couldn't bring himself to kill Vash.
He couldn't, no, because he's not a killer, man. It's hard to kill people.
And he also realized other people care for Vash, too. The same way he cared for his own cousin.
It was definitely not because of Meryl's speech, though.
No,
it wasn't a very good speech. This guy just realized he's not a killer.
Yeah, he doesn't have it in him.
He doesn't have it in him. I know. It's hard to kill people, man. It really is.
No matter how much you hate them.
Right?
Unless you're Knives. Unless you don't care.
This is interesting, but we realize here when Meryl gives Vash the cross that Vash doesn't know that Wolfwood is dead. He's like, oh, I'll get this back to Wolfwood, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Because Wolfwood just kind of scurries into the nearest church and dies by himself.
Like a boss. That's how a man does it.
But then how did...
Millie got the cross from him.
Yeah, but they didn't tell Vash that he's dead?
No.
I thought that's what they were discussing before.
No.
That's why Vash left the town in like a really gloomy mood. Was because like I thought they all knew. Vash also saw the trail of blood leading to, remember when like, you know, the last time they spoke, he like saw the trail of blood going somewhere else.
I don't know, but they definitely make a remark of getting the Punisher back to Wolfwood.
That's weird. I thought he was aware.
So we get to the desert. This is the final episode, man. This is it. We're about to finish it up. And guess what? Vash is armed with his gun, the crucifix, and Christianity. And he's like, you know what, bro? You can just... Knives, bro. You can just say you're sorry, dude. I read this book. It's called The Bible. Crazy fucking story, dude. Insane. But you can just fucking, like... You can just, like, forget about all this shit, bro. You can just, like, sweep it all away. Just say you're sorry. Here, just get the Virgin, count some rosary beads. You say some things that are called Hail Marys. And you say you're sorry. And it's all fine, dude. We can still get into heaven. I've been reading about this place called heaven. It's dank, from what I read. I don't know. But, yeah, Vash is, he is actually on this redemption kick. He's like, I can redeem my brother. Yeah. I can make this all right. I can make this simple. He's
finally not confused.
I'm not a very good Catholic. Does it work this way? Mm-mm. Do they just think, oh, we'll just...
I'm the opposite of any of those things.
We'll just confess him, and then we're good. Like, Mom, Dad cheated on you, and it's like, oh, don't worry, we'll just take him to confession, air it out.
No, kill her.
And then if Mom kills Dad, it's like Mom killed Dad for cheating on her. It's like, we'll just take her to confession then.
If it benefits you, kill her.
And then air it out. And then it's fine, I guess. But that's what Vash wants. That's the hope and that's the dream.
I don't know. I didn't grow up with those values, so.
But this thing pops off. They see each other. They immediately start shooting. They are...
He's like, how have you been these past 20 fucking years? And he's like, I had fun.
We do get to see the weird.
You don't even know where Vash goes.
They have such a strange.
They just appear. He just appears in a grassy field on a hill with a tree.
The only oasis in the whole desert.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
Drinking tea.
No context.
And Knives is such a fucking weird. Can you think of a villain whose plan is to kill all humans and then just basically sit around? Just like chill. Just like sitting there underneath the shade of a tree for like 150 years. And they're like, this is fine.
Yeah, I'm curious of what he's still trying to do.
He just thinks plants are fine. He's just there with his cactuses, his fucking desk cactus, and he's like, this is good company.
Yeah, but if he wants to destroy him, like, he's like this crazy maniacal villain, and then like you find out for 100 years. Like, what has he been doing? I want to know. Like, it probably depicts that in the manga, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah,
like,
we get this fucking Forrest Gump ass tale of Knives and Vash hating each other. Knives making fun of Vash for caring about shit, being like, yeah, I killed Rem and I'd kill her again. I'd kill her 100 times, and if I find Rem's dead body in one of these fucking blown out human shelters that we're gonna be raiding, I'm gonna piss in her fucking corpse's mouth, Vash. And Vash is like, well, I guess we don't say stuff like that, man. It's crazy. It's absolutely mental, and I get it. These are the only, insofar as they know, these are the only two humans on Earth, or the only two living things on this entire planet. But it's two guys who fucking hate each other, but they don't know anyone else.
No, Vash doesn't hate Knives.
They hate each other like brothers do.
Yeah.
But they don't know.
I was about to say, like, Knives doesn't, but no, Knives would have killed Vash a long time ago if he really hated him.
Yeah, but
there's got to be some shred of love for him.
But that's what's so psychotic, though, is for 100+ years, they've been living like this. They have hated each other in this way since the first year of their life.
Yeah. No, that's not true.
They weren't even 2 years old when the fall happened.
I know, but like they didn't know they were both confused.
But no, Knives never had any. Knives was like, yeah, I killed all those humans, and I'm gonna try to kill all the other humans. And Vash is walking around the desert hanging with them. And Knives is like, I can't wait until we can kill all the humans, right? And Vash is like, no, we can't kill all the humans, Knives. And he's like, well, I'm going to definitely kill all the humans the first chance I get. And the whole time Vash is like, you just get Knives, come on. And Knives is like,
no, you have to realize that they're insects.
They're not even insects. Yeah. They're humans. And we need to kill all of them.
To our existence.
And this is where the series maybe jumps the shark for me a little bit. This is entering Naruto Sasuke territory.
Yeah.
But they get into the fight. We find out that Knives spent a year developing the angel arms. They shoot at each other. They break up. They stop talking to each other for 10 years. Because when they get to a crash site, that's when Vash first learns that Knives is like, I'm going to kill all these. I never got over this. Like, all I think about is killing humans constantly. There's not like, you're not going to bring me around, bro. It's been 100 years and I still think about killing humans every day. I go to bed thinking about them and I wake up thinking about killing them. You got to do your brother in, dude. You got to fucking take it.
Is this like a weird take on like how plants feel about humans?
I just think that it's just maybe an odd doubling down of the fact that these guys are going to live to be like 10,000 years old and probably still act exactly the way that they did when they were 5.
Yeah. That's the thing with immortality. Vash always like whenever like the subject of mortality comes up, Vash is like, yeah, mortal. I forgot about that. Remember that? Like Woodwolf is like, oh, Wolfwood is like, you're gonna get yourself killed, and he's like, oh yeah. whatever, like, you know.
I mean, it's not like he's having a particularly good go of things over the last 100+ years. It seems like he's had his best.
No, it was fucked from the start.
It seems like his best years are the years when very little happens.
Yeah.
But they pull the angel arms out on each other. We learn that Vash is capable of absorbing the angel arm now, so they don't crater the entirety of the world that they're in, but they can't seem to figure out how to beat each other.
Yeah, they're so evenly matched.
And because of that, Vash is forced. Knives manages to get his hands on Vash's gun during the exchange because Knives is he's a little bit more ruthless than Vash. He wants it more. He wants to win more. And Vash normally would be dead here, but he reaches in the dust because he hears the voice of a friend. He pulls the crucifix out, conveniently placed. I mean, sure. I don't know how I feel about our main character winning the final bout by luck. By literally dumb luck. Absolutely flying by the seat of his pants dumb luck.
I mean, no, it's supposed to depict how dangerous Knives really is. See,
I wanted Vash to be like Knives. I was always a better gunman than you. I just didn't want to kill you, dude. That's what I wanted. I thought that
what I got from it was that like the harsh, straightforward, cruel, selfish path is the strongest path. It won. It technically won, but by fate, you know.
But yeah,
only through fate can you win against something so powerful.
Only with the power of Christian Jesus, Catholic Christian Jesus. And his lucky magic, only with that lucky Jesus magic can you overcome your true enemies.
This is like, but I am there with you. Like, that was the stupidest scene I've ever, like, that is the dumbest scene in the whole show, in my opinion. Like, when the fact that, like, the cross is just sitting there, just buried under the ground. And like, Vash just happened to I thought Vash was holding that thing, you know?
But they shoot the angel arms at each other, and everything gets blown back by the gust.
You're right. Yeah.
But it is just, I wanted to know that our man was the better man, and he's not. He had friends, and he had the faith, and he had the hope. And yes, it's luck. And is it luck if it's religion? I don't know. Are they different? Are they the same thing? That's a bigger question than I'm the man to answer. But I wanted his win against Knives to be definitive. But he takes the advantage. He gets his shots off, and when he gets the moment, this time he pieces Knives up bad. He unloads into him. He's like, I'm shooting you in the dick. I'm shooting you in your other dick. I'm shooting you in both shoulders. I'm basically hitting every major joint, bro. You're not going to walk. You're never going to be able to lift your arms above your belly button again. I'm sorry. You've led me to this. And no remorse. Knives should be fed feet first into a fucking wood chipper like the plant that he is for the bullshit that he's caused, for the people that he's hurt. But it's, it's the 90s, and Superman taught us that even killing millions of people, Hitler would be thrown in jail in the 90s, you know?
Yeah.
Batman would have thrown Hitler, you're going to Arkham, and you're going to do your time for all 16 million of those Jews.
Your socialist ideas are psychotic.
We're going to throw you in Arkham where you belong, Hitler.
Jew hater.
He killed 16 million Jews. Don't worry. This guy's never going to know freedom again.
16 million people already died in a world where Batman exists. It's like he didn't do his job.
It's like Knives. I don't know if Knives killed millions, but Knives killed a percentage of humanity. He killed a percentage that was left.
I think he killed more than Hitler.
I'm saying he killed 16 million out of 7 billion is one thing.
Knives is way worse than Hitler.
Knives killed
Hitler had ideas. Hitler had like, I mean,
even if Knives only killed 20,000 people, he killed 20,000 of like the last 100,000 humans.
No, he wanted to eradicate everything. It's as if he just wanted to be by himself.
His end game is literally him sitting in a chair on an empty planet, saying, "This is fine."
Yeah,
for 1,000 years. He's crazy.
And it's like I'm curious because it's like, is that really what you want? Is that really you want to just sit in boredom and be immortal? Like that's the whole thing. Like it with Garland Jr. for example, like
Garlic Jr.
Yeah, Garlic Jr. where he wishes for immortality and he gets it, right? Yeah. And then like Piccolo is like, well, let's see how you really like it in an empty fucking world. You know, I can't imagine just liking that. You know, I don't know.
Just sitting in a chair.
That is
this is fine.
That is the whole thing about immortality. That is the whole reason why everybody says you don't want to live forever. You don't want to live forever. You know?
Well, and that's it, guys. Man. Trigun. I'm glad that we did this. I'm glad we get to put a fork in it. I have to say, I respect Trigun more than I did as a child, but I do see the flaws with the story. It is a slower paced anime than I thought. This is easily the slowest of all the Space Cowboys, I believe.
You think so?
Yeah. I think Outlaw Star moves a mile a minute at times.
Yeah, and Cowboy Bebop and all the other shows are way more colorful than this.
This definitely has the lowest budget.
That too.
But
wait, lower than Outlaw Star?
Oh, absolutely, dude. There's episodes of this that are basically still.
No, there's the crazy grappler combat and everything. Yeah, you're right.
This is, but Vash hangs, man. You know, we're here 20-something years later, and people still talking about him. Still, people wearing those sunglasses.
They didn't even have to draw anything that crazy or complex compared to Outlaw Star.
I would almost say that Trigun doesn't even hang in the top 20 shootout. Like, I
kind of noticed the shootout. That's what I mean by like they leave out a lot of detail. Not in the story. Like, well, they do in this story, but like they leave out a lot of details when it comes. It's for such a grim world, for such a gloomy, like, you know, uninhabitable place. They do leave out a lot of details when it comes to like the shootouts and stuff. It does kind of feel a tad bit not lazy but underfunded.
Well, that's what I mean is Vash running around as a naked dog boy. Let me ask you this, rather. What is the coolest scene that you remember from this whole show? Because I only really can recall the boomerang in the first episode, him running around as a dog, and Knives killing the spider. And to me... Yeah,
and Wolfwood's death scene.
But for the most part, this isn't a Sakuga heavy series. This is mostly feeling and vibe and emotion. There's actually not, the animation is secondary in this series. And I didn't realize that the first time watching it. It took me this rewatch to realize how...
I never watched it as a kid, so like I watched this show now twice. And my first viewing of it was very, I don't know, nothing really caught my eye until I found the characters that I liked, you know?
Yeah, but there's interesting characters in this, definitely. I'm still troubled by how absolutely nihilistic Legato is. I can't think of I can think of characters that are nihilistic, but I don't know if I can think of any character. Legato kills thousands of people in this show, and not thousands like... He kills them not in a personal way, but not in an impersonal way either. He's not dropping a bomb. He's willfully killing people by the dozens at a time in a way that's just so crazy sadistic. He hates everyone and everything. And to hate everyone and everything to a degree to not even want to shell yourself off from it, but to want to just inflict the most misery that you can on the most people in the most heinous ways you can, tricking people into shooting children, forcing mothers to throw babies from cliffs, and making men put guns in their mouths in front of their families and kill themselves. Like, Legato, Knives, and Vash, and they all stand out even today, I think, for characters. But
I feel like there's crazier characters than Knives. He's up there.
I think there's more intricate characters and characters with more depth, but I think Knives is A1 tier for absolute insanity. I think he can't be reasoned with. I think that the first thing that he's gonna do the first thing Knives is gonna do when he wakes up from the bullet wounds Vash gave him is he's gonna say, "We need to kill all the humans," and there will be nothing learned. And Vash is going to be carrying his now quadriplegic brother around, who's going to be screaming, "We've got to kill all the humans."
You know what I want? I want this show to be. I wish Vash was just like Knives. I wish when Knives was like, let's fucking kill everybody. Like Vash is like, yes, let's. You know.
So it's just Vash and Knives walking around with their angel arms, pointing them at cities and turning them into dust.
Yeah, and then the humans have to figure out a way to stop this.
Oh, but we don't got any
duo.
technology.
It's going to be Chapel and the gung-ho guns versus Vash and Knives.
Right? And Steve gets out of deep freeze. He survives. He survived.
There we go.
And he's been frozen this whole time.
This is the Trigun OVA, actually.
He's still grabbing titties, but he's gonna. He's so funny. If the guy that beat Knives up 130 years ago sees him and he's holding the same club, and he's like, "Oh, looks like you think you're a grown up."
Yeah,
now.
and Knives like summons like a dark black hole,
and Steve just kicks him in the chest just like he did all those years ago.
Yeah.
He starts hitting Knives and calling him a pussy. An idiot, and all of Knives' power, everything, it just fails, and Knives starts crying, and he's like, "Stop it, Steve!" And he's like, "You are always a fucking. I hated you all back then, and I hate you now."
Just imagine the possibilities.
To bully a child over hundreds of years.
Innovation. Get innovative with the way you beat children.
Yasuhiro Naito, that one's free. But no, thank you. Thank you for that. And I guess this is the end of this episode.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, I guess.
Check out the Instagram. Go on our website.
Check out the site. If you've listened to this, there's other listenables on there.
Yes,
And
sir.
yeah, I feel like what we're doing. Consider donating to the show. Or not, whatever. But yeah, that's been Trigun, man. It's been a fun time. And now we get to go into fucking Attack on Titan month, man.
Yeah, we need to get on that.
Seriously, there's 5 days? 5 days until we start to Shingeki these Kyojins again, bro.
It's kind of surreal that it's back.
Right? Like, we don't deserve it.
I feel like I should be waiting longer. They gotta delay that. They gotta make it better.